Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to another episode of The Grumpy Geek, where you can always find great original content on all things geeky and nerdy. As usual, I'm your host, Cassius Samuels, and today we're going to talk about some Doctor Strange. Because, as I am sure you are all aware at this point, unless of course you've been comatose under a rock somewhere in buttfuck Egypt, Doctor Strange will finally see its theatrical release this week. And the many moviegoers, enchanted by Marvel's master of the mystic arts, will undoubtedly be looking to prolong the magic with some must-read tales of the Sorcerer Supreme. And even though this film is an origin story, I figured a lot of people may be wondering where all the trippy visuals, alternate realities, and magical mysteries have come from and what their comic book roots are. Doctor Strange doesn't have the easiest back catalog to dig into, but if you know what you're looking for, there are some true gems that carve out the unique niche that Doctor Strange occupies in the Marvel Universe. So being the expert scholar that I am, I went ahead and put together a list of 5 must-read Doctor Strange stories to prepare not just for his movies, but for his undoubtedly increased presence in the Marvel Comics universe going forward. Coming in at number 5, we have The Oath, which is a series written by Brian K. Vaughan and drawn by the brilliant Marcos Martin, which helped in many ways to set up Doctor Strange for his inclusion in Brian Michael Bendis' New Avengers run, which I'll touch on later in this list as well. But this series, The Oath, introduces a new take on the Night Nurse character, this time as an underground medic of sorts, for superheroes who help Strange in this story go on a quest for a powerful magical elixir that can cure any disease so that he can save his faithful friend Wong. But while he's on this quest, Strange is faced with the reality that it might be possible to use this elixir to cure all disease for all of mankind, which ultimately presents him with an impossible choice to make. So it was a very deep story to me. In the end, the best part about this series, in my opinion, is that it happens to be both smart and fun, 2 qualities that you can never have enough of in a superhero book. Vaughn and Martin deliver an engaging, well-crafted, and highly entertaining supernatural mystery adventure that also happens to enrich the origin and history of one of Marvel's classic characters and sets the stage for a new era for the Sorcerer Supreme. This story fans describe this version of Doctor Strange in this story as kind of being like a Gandalf mixed with Sherlock Holmes, mixed with Indiana Jones, all rolled into one cool package. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and that's definitely a big reason why it makes the list at number 5. Next up at number 4, we have the all new, all different Doctor Strange comic book art entitled Way of the Weird. And as many lifelong Marvel comic book readers already know, there have been several instances throughout Marvel history that they have had insufferable difficulties trying to find a way to combine their supernatural universe with their traditional superhero Marvel universe, especially since the social landscapes of society are always changing over time. But so far with this all different Doctor Strange run that they've been able to put together recently, in my opinion, is one of the best. So far, writers Jason Aaron and Chris Bachalo have navigated those straits surprisingly well while keeping true to the Sorcerer Supreme in their run with this new title. Way of the Weird is basically a story about an outside force looking to eliminate what it calls the abomination of magic systematically, universe by universe, throughout the entire Marvel multiverse as it slowly winds its way towards the core Marvel universe where Doctor Strange is living. One of the biggest selling points of the art to me is that the story touches on big ideas such as the state of magic in Marvel, the diverse array of magic users that can now be found in the Marvel universe, while also still reinforcing the personal charm of Stephen Strange and the unique elements that make him the Sorcerer Supreme, who is undoubtedly one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel universe. There's also a nice new plot twist this time around, which comes in the form of a completely new idea to the Doctor Strange mythos that comes in the form of a magical side effect that harms Strange physically every time he uses powerful magic. This, like I said, is completely new to the Doctor Strange mythos, and I like this development because it adds tension to the series, it spices stuff up, and it gives a little bit more compulsion to be invested in the character now that he has parameters and consequences for using magic, which is unlike other magic-based stories, which usually come off as an endless stream of Deus Ex Machina climaxes and stories that don't really have true stakes. So I like that. I know at first glance you see a couple covers, Doctor Strange wielding an axe, and you could be put off, but if the magic powered brooch didn't scare you off to begin with, meaning the Eye of Agamotto, the axe can win you over once you read the story and you get the reasoning behind it. But to me, overall, the artwork is stupendous. The writing is pretty engaging and compelling, even though it does drag a bit at times. But all in all, it's a very innovative story, and it's one of the best stories that the all-new, all-different Marvel universe has to offer right now. So trust me, this is definitely an arc worth reading if you're a fan of Marvel's supernatural universe like I am. Coming in at number 3, we have the Sorcerer Supreme Once More arc, which came as a part of Brian Michael Bendis' run on the New Avengers. It's tremendously difficult these days to find modern stories that really encapsulate something unique about Doctor Strange, especially since most of the last decade he's primarily only been a supporting character for the Marvel Universe. But still, in the later half of Brian Bendis' long Avengers run, Strange became a key player in the New Avengers, and it kind of started bringing him back to the forefront. In the early issues of the New Avengers Volume 2, written by the infamous Brian Michael Bendis, which followed the end of the Dark Reign series, Strange finds himself part of a dubious Avengers team closer to the makeup of the Defenders and stripped of his title as Sorcerer Supreme, which is a classic role given over to Dr. Voodoo. So this is basically a story that surrounds Strange finding a new path in the Marvel Universe on his way to trying to regain his title of Sorcerer Supreme. Now, like a lot of people, I'm not a huge fan of Bendis at all, even though he has written a few stories that I enjoy. This particular Bendis run wasn't that bad at all, as he explored the themes of Strange arrogance and humility, his willingness to sacrifice to get power, and things along those lines. It also established new connections between Iron Fist's power and Kunlun and the Ancient One, and of course the story concluded with Strange regaining his mantle as the Sorcerer Supreme, leaving him arguably stronger than ever before, thrusting him into some really deep cosmic weirdness as part of the Marvel's Illuminati. So to me, this story is definitely worth addition to the list. You should never skip over this. It's got beautiful artwork. Like I said, it's some of Bendis' more tolerable work. You know, I really don't fuck with Bendis all like that. But this is one of the few stories that I would recommend to somebody. Coming in at number 2, we have Defenders Indefensible, written by Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis. And although I feel like a lot of modern audiences know who Doctor Strange is now because of the MCU, and I feel like they just affiliate him with the Avengers because they know that that's something that's coming down the line with the Infinity War and all that in the MCU. And I don't think a lot of people realize that Doctor Strange's first team up was with the Defenders. That was a team founded alongside Namor, Hulk, and Silver Surfer. And it was a team that basically dealt with mystic threats. And it was one of those Marvel books that had a stranger tone than the other Marvel books. Like the artwork was kind of crazy, and it had some other underlying themes that weren't really pushed with the other books. So it was kind of unique in that aspect. But basically, Defenders Indefensible is a story about the character Nightmare giving Strange a warning about the dreaded Dormammu and his sister Umar the Unholy teaming up to conquer the universe. This leads to Strange recruiting Bruce Banner and Namor, with Silver Surfer deciding to sit this one out because he would rather hang out with fellow surfers in an effort to understand things on Earth, which turns out to be like a running joke theme throughout this 5-issue run, which I thought was pretty stupid, but that's neither here nor there. But of course shit hits the fan. Dormammu becomes a god, changes the universe to his own image, including Earth and all that. It makes everything all different, so of course the Defenders have to mobilize to stop him. I like this story. It's not perfect, like I said. The artwork is super cheesy. There's an overabundance of jokes, namely the ones relating to how the writers decided to handle Silver Surfer in this arc, and I feel like the story could have perhaps been trimmed down to 4 issues, to be honest. But with all that being said, I still feel like it's an enjoyable story. It doesn't treat itself too seriously. It's great to see these characters get together and interact with each other and make a save. There is plenty of action, and there is plenty of stuff to be interested in. There's compelling dialogue and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely worth a read and definitely worthy of a spot on this list. Now, coming up to this number 1 spot, I feel like all the other stories on this list, all the other spots could be shuffled around depending on the day that you ask me. But one thing that will never change on this list is this number 1 story with Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom titled Triumph and Torment. This is one of my all-time favorite Marvel stories ever written, hands down. And in this graphic novel written by Roger Stern and art by Mike Mignola, Doctor Strange is basically forced to help Dr. Doom try to save the soul of his mother, who, if you're not familiar with Dr. Doom's origin story, was taken hostage by Mephisto, and Doom, like once a year, tries to battle him to get his mother's soul out of hell, which he fails at. So he goes and asks Doctor Strange for his help, who owes him a favor from the Sorcerer Supreme trials and stuff like that. But to me, the story is so dynamic in so many ways and proves over and over why Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom remain two of Marvel's most popular characters to this day, like in so many ways. I mean, seriously, just based on the story's concept and title alone, it should be obvious why this story is proclaimed as one of the best Doctor Strange stories of all time. Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom versus the Devil. It's just about the coolest grouping of 8 words ever heard in the English language. It's an idea that's almost quintessentially the most comic booky thing you've ever heard, as it delivers a big wow factor that also rides that very thin edge between dramatic and ridiculous, while glorifying the always classic plot device of having a hero and villain team up to take down a common foe. To me, it's a great pairing that illustrates the parallels between the characters, and it reminds us, usually through flashbacks, of all the ways that these men are alike, such as being left disfigured after accidents which bruised their giant egos. They both took a trek to Tibet where they gained arcane knowledge, and they both used their arcane knowledge to avenge loved ones. One of the things that I love most about this story is that it's not only a Doctor Strange story, but it's also a Doctor Doom story, who is another one of my favorite characters from the Marvel Universe. And it illustrates and displays both characters during this event, going on a huge journey, a hero's journey, a villain's pilgrimage, call it what you want. And by the time they walk away from the event, they have a better understanding of each other, and they're both changed forever for the better. So, I mean, you just can't get away from that. So to me, despite the flaws that it has, I mean, it has some mediocre artwork, stuff like that, and it's kind of predictable at some points, but damn all that, it's Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom. It's an emotionally moving story, it's philosophically intriguing, it's theatrical, it's just all types. It's composed by 2 artistic innovators coming together with this like melodic sense of harmony with storytelling and all. Like, it's just, to me, I can't exaggerate enough how much I love this story, as you can tell. But there you have it. Those are the Grumpy Geek top 5 must-read story recommendations for Doctor Strange that should get the ball rolling for anyone interested in delving into Marvel's most preeminent mystical superhero. If you want to catch more videos like this in the future, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to get live news updates on all things geeky and nerdy, be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms, which I have left links for down in the description down below. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, go take a nap, grab a bite to eat or something like that. But y'all enjoy your weekend, enjoy the Doctor Strange movie. I will catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.